My family betrayed me for my sister. I could have fought them. Instead, I outplayed them. I didn't realize my family was choosing sides until I was already losing. There was no argument. No warning. No fight. Just a calm conversation where everyone acted like the decision had already been made. They told me my sister was taking over my company. The company I built from nothing. The one I funded with my own money. The one I kept alive while everyone else slept. They spoke slowly, carefully, like they were explaining something obvious. And that's when I noticed something that made my stomach drop. My sister wasn't surprised. She wasn't confused. She was prepared. That's when I understood something terrifying. This wasn't about business. This was about replacement. I could have yelled. I could have threatened lawyers. I could have fought them in that moment. But instead, I smiled. Because while they thought they were taking my company from me, I was already figuring out how to take everything that actually mattered. My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. My dad cleared his throat. That sound alone made my chest tighten. "We've been talking," he said. "About the future." My heart started racing. My mom reached across the table and squeezed my sister Sarah's hand. Sarah didn't look at me. Her eyes stayed on her plate. "We think it's time for a leadership transition," my mom said. The room felt smaller. "Transition where?" I asked. Silence. Then my dad said it. I felt the blood rush out of my face. "We want Sarah to take over," he added. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I might throw up. "Take over?" I repeated. Sarah finally looked up, calm, polished, confident. "It's not personal," she said. "It's just what's best for growth." Growth. I thought about the nights I slept in my office, the years I skipped vacations, the risks I took when no one else believed in me. And now they were talking about it like it was a shared family asset. "You'll still be involved," my dad said quickly. "Just not in charge." Not in charge. My hands went numb. I looked around the table. No one was asking me what I wanted. This wasn't a discussion. It was a decision. Something inside me went quiet. I nodded, forced a smile. "Okay," I said. "If that's what you think is best." My mom visibly relaxed. Sarah exhaled like she'd been holding her breath all night. They thought it was settled. They thought I'd accepted it. As we stood up to leave, my phone rang. A Slack notification. Sarah had just scheduled a leadership meeting. Everyone was invited. Except me. And that's when I knew the takeover had already started. The meeting invite sat on my phone like a threat. Sam conference room. Same leadership team. Same time I'd been running every Monday for years. Except my name wasn't there. I refreshed Slack. Then refreshed my email. Nothing. My chest tightened. I walked into the office anyway. Same badge, same desk, same people pretending not to notice me. Conversations stopped when I passed. Chairs scraped. Screens tilted away. That's when I saw it. Sarah's name. Pinned at the top of Slack. Interim CEO. Interim. Like this was temporary. Like I was already gone. I stepped into the conference room just as the meeting was starting. 10 people. My people. People I hired. People who used to come to me when things went wrong. Sarah was standing at the head of the table. She didn't flinch when she saw me. "Oh," she said lightly. "I didn't realize you'd still be joining these." Still? Joining. Like I was a guest in my own company. I felt heat rush up my neck. My hands curled into fists. I could feel my pulse in my ears. "This is my company," I said. She smiled. "Not cruel, worse, polite." "For now," she said. "But Mom and Dad think we should start transitioning responsibilities." Around the table, no one said anything. No one defended me. No one looked surprised. That's when it hit me. This wasn't sudden. This had been happening behind my back for weeks. Maybe months. I looked at faces I trusted. People I promoted. People I'd gone to bat for. They avoided my eyes. Sarah clicked to the first slide of her presentation. "My roadmap. My strategy." My words. "I'll be leading us forward," she said. "With everyone's support." Support. The word felt like a knife. I could have exploded right there. Could have called lawyers. Could have shut the meeting down. But something stopped me. Because in that moment, I saw something else. They weren't loyal to me. They were loyal to whoever controlled the future. And I still controlled more than they realized. I sat down, quietly, and let her talk. Because while she was busy taking my title, I was already deciding what parts of this company were coming with me. Halfway through the meeting, my phone buzzed under the table. A text from one of our biggest clients. "Hey, just checking. If you ever leave." "We're leaving too." I stared at the screen. And that's when the plan stopped being emotional and became surgic. I didn't reply to the text right away. My phone felt heavy in my hand, like it knew what that message meant. "If you ever leave, we're leaving too." I kept my face neutral while Sarah kept talking. Charts, growth projections, new vision. She was using my language, just rearranged enough to sound like hers. No one noticed me stop taking notes. No one noticed me stop listening. Because my mind was already somewhere else. I waited until the meeting ended. Chairs slid back. People stood up. Sarah started laughing with the team like she'd always been in charge. I walked back to my office and closed the door. Locked it. My hands were shaking now. Not from fear, from clarity. I pulled out my laptop. Not the company-issued one. The other one? The one I'd kept at home. The one tied to me, not them. I opened my contacts. Client after client. People who trusted me. People who signed because of me. I didn't pitch. I didn't persuade. I just asked one question. If I left, would you follow? The replies came faster than I expected. Yes, absolutely. Wherever you go. My chest tightened. Relief mixed with something darker. I wasn't imagining it. I was the company, and they'd forgotten that. Over the next few days, I moved quietly. Coffee meetings that looked casual. Walks that weren't logged on calendars. Calls made from my car. No emails. No Slack. No paper trail. Sarah was busy announcing changes. New policies. New approval chains. She thought she was consolidating power. She didn't see me consolidating loyalty. Then I did something that felt almost cruel in its simplicity. I registered a new company. Different name. Different logo. Same vision. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell my sister. I didn't even tell most of my team. Because the most dangerous moves don't make noise. They wait. Late one night, my phone buzzed again. Another message from the same client. We need to talk fast. Sarah just emailed us. She's trying to lock us into a long-term contract. I stared at the screen. Because now I knew something she didn't. She was trying to secure the future. And I was about to remove it entirely. I didn't sleep that night. Not a wink. My apartment was quiet, the city outside humming. But inside my mind was racing like the stock market in a crash. I knew exactly what I had to do. First, the clients. Every major contract. Every account that mattered. I reached out quietly, personally. One call at a time. If anything changes, we'd like to stay with you, I said, careful, calm, controlled. They all agreed. Not because of the company, not because of Sarah, because of me. Then the staff. The team I had nurtured for years. Top performers. People who had seen me bleed for this company. If I start something new, are you with me? No hesitation. Every single one said yes. By the next morning, I had transferred all critical assets and contracts to my new entity. Every document, every client, every piece of intellectual property I could legally move. And Sarah? She was none the wiser. She was still in the office, updating spreadsheets, signing memos, consolidating authority. She thought she was climbing to the top. Meanwhile, I watched it all from the shadows. My resignation wasn't going to be a surrender. It was the final move in a game she didn't even realize she was playing. I smiled, cold, because the very things she thought would secure her future, the clients, the contracts, the loyalty of my team, were already gone. That afternoon, my parents called. We need to talk. Sarah says you're leaving us? I looked at my phone and didn't answer immediately. Because by the time I did, they were about to find out they had already lost. The morning felt heavier than usual. My old office smelled like stale coffee and fluorescent lights, but it was mine, or at least it had been. I walked in as usual. Same badge, same desk, same city, same company. But today was different. Sarah was already at the head of the conference table, confident. Slides up, charts projected. Everyone pretending I was just another employee. I cleared my throat. Silence fell. Chairs scraped back. People turned. I have an announcement, I said, voice steady. Heads tilted. Phones hovered over keyboards. Some eyes widened. Some tried to hide it. I'm resigning, I continued. Gasps. Some whispered. Sarah's face faltered for a second, just a flicker. That second lasted forever. I've started a new company, I said. And I've taken the most critical clients and assets with me. The room froze. I watched realization dawn across their faces. My team, my parents, Sarah. Everything you think you have? I said, slow, deliberate. It's already gone. Sarah opened her mouth, closed it, stared, her confidence cracking like fragile glass. My parents' faces went pale. Not anger. Not shame, shock, disbelief. You can't do that, my dad finally said. I smiled, cold, calm. Oh, I already did. I walked out of the office. For the first time in years, I felt light, free, in control. Sarah ran after me, pleading, shouting. But it was too late. Every move had been calculated. Every piece was already mine. That night, my phone buzzed with a message from Sarah. You may have taken the company, but don't think this is over. I'll make sure everyone hates you. I stared at the screen. And that's when I realized revenge was only the beginning. The fallout was immediate. By noon the next day, my old company's Slack channels were on fire. Meetings canceled. Emergency calls scheduled. Investors demanding explanations no one could give. Sarah tried to hold it together. She sent company-wide emails filled with buzzwords and fake confidence. We're restructuring. This is temporary. We're stronger than one person. But behind closed doors, panic. Clients started pulling out, one by one, not quietly either. Some sent formal notices. Others didn't even bother. They just stopped responding. And my parents? They showed up at my apartment unannounced. No warning. No apology, just fear. You're destroying the family, my mom said, tears in her eyes. You need to fix this, my dad added. I listened, calm, detached. You already chose, I replied. That was when it hit them. This wasn't a tantrum. This wasn't jealousy. This was the consequence of taking something that was never theirs. Meanwhile, my new company was exploding. Within weeks, we landed bigger contracts than I'd ever had before. Investors didn't hesitate. They trusted me, not a logo. My team worked like they had something to prove. I wasn't rebuilding. I was upgrading. Sarah called me that night. Not confident, not smug. Quiet. We can still fix this, she said. I looked at the skyline from my window and said the truth she wasn't ready to hear. You already broke it. The next morning, I received a legal notice. Sarah and my parents were suing me, claiming I stole the company I created. I laughed, because the evidence was about to destroy them. The envelope was thick, heavy, expensive. I knew that paper cost them a fortune. Lawyers, retainers, desperation wrapped in legal language, breach of fiduciary duty, intellectual property theft, unlawful competition. They weren't just suing me. They were trying to rewrite history. Sarah wanted the world to believe she built the company. My parents wanted the court to crown her the rightful heir. And I? I was painted as the bitter brother who couldn't handle being replaced. I hired one lawyer, just one. He read the complaint, leaned back, and smiled. They have emotion, he said. You have evidence, emails, contracts, board minutes, original source files with my timestamps going back 10 years. Every decision Sarah claimed credit for, my signature was already there, dated years earlier. Court day came fast. Too fast for them. Sarah walked in dressed like a CEO, power suit, chin high, cameras outside. My parents sat behind her like judges, convinced the courtroom would restore order. I didn't look at them. I looked at the judge. When my lawyer began, the room changed. Screens lit up. Timelines appeared. Documents stacked like bricks. This company, he said calmly, was founded, funded, and built by one person. He pointed to me. Sarah's smile slipped. Then came the emails, the ones where she admitted she was learning on the fly. Then the contracts, the ones legally allowing transfer. Then the client statements, loyalty sworn to me, not her. My parents stared at the screen, mouths slightly open. This wasn't a debate anymore. It was a demolition. The judge raised his hand and said, I've seen enough. Sarah grabbed my arm as we stood. Her voice shook. If you do this, you'll destroy our family forever. I looked at her for the first time in months and said quietly, You did that first. The courtroom was silent, heavy with tension. Sarah sat rigid. My parents leaned forward. Gripping the bench like this could somehow change the outcome. The judge cleared his throat. After reviewing all evidence, it's clear the original ownership, contracts and client agreements belong to, he paused. The plaintiff, Mr. Your Name. A whisper ran through the room. Sarah's eyes went wide. My parents' faces drained of color. It wasn't just a win. It was a complete reversal. Every contract I had quietly transferred was legally validated. Every client agreement confirmed. Every employee loyalty sworn. I felt a strange mix of relief and satisfaction. Sarah stood, trembling. This isn't over, she said through gritted teeth. My parents tried to speak, but I held up my hand. It's already over, I said calmly. Outside, the media waited. Cameras flashed. Reporters scribbled notes about the family tech feud gone public. I walked past them all, feeling lighter than I had in a decade. My company was safe. My new company was thriving. My family's betrayal had backfired spectacularly. But then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. They won't forgive this. Be careful. I looked at it, smiled, and realized victory comes with its own weight, even with everything restored. I knew one thing. My family might have lost the company, but they hadn't lost their desire for revenge. The courtroom victory didn't end it. A week later, my inbox was full of passive-aggressive emails from my parents. My sister sent texts that alternated between pleading and threats. You think you've won, but you'll regret this. My employees whispered about awkward family calls. My clients got minor concerns from Sarah, trying to destabilize our confidence. I realized something. This wasn't just a company battle. It was a war over pride, over ego, over identity. They wanted me shaken. They wanted me vulnerable, so I played along. Calm, polite, professional, I responded carefully. No anger, no panic, just measured control. But inside, I felt the old adrenaline. The thrill of knowing the pieces were in my hands. One night, my parents showed up at my office. Not for meetings. Not for reconciliation. Just to intimidate. You've taken everything from us, my dad said, voice low. Are you happy now? I didn't answer. I only looked at the city skyline behind me. I'm fine, I said finally. You chose this path. They left angry, but I knew they were thinking, how do we get it back? Because in their minds, family betrayals never end. They only escalate. That same night, my phone buzzed again. It wasn't Sarah. It wasn't my parents. It was one of my former employees from the old company. They're planning something big. I think they're coming for you. I stared at the screen and realized the war wasn't over. It was just changing arenas. The next few weeks were tense. Every day a new challenge. Rumors, small sabotage attempts, legal threats disguised as clarifications. Even my social media was hit with subtle smear campaigns. Sarah had become obsessed. My parents furious. But the more desperate they got, the more reckless. I kept building, quietly, strategically. Every client, every asset, every loyal employee was already tied to me legally, morally, and emotionally. One evening, Sarah walked into my office. Alone this time. No entourage. No threats, just her. You can't live like this forever, she said. You've won the company, but at what cost? I smiled. I didn't steal anything, I said. I just took back what was always mine. Her face twisted. Confusion, anger, frustration. You'll regret this, she whispered. I knew she meant it. But here's the thing, I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel remorse. I had been betrayed, and I had outplayed them in the cleanest, smartest way possible. And yet, I looked at my phone again. Another text. This isn't over. Families always find a way to hurt each other. I stared at the skyline. My company was thriving. My new life was secure. But the truth was clear. Family betrayal never ends. It only evolves. And I didn't know what they would do next.